Have you ever been on vacation somewhere and had that little thought in the back of your mind, is my being here actually helping this place, or am I kind of hurting it? It is a huge question, right? Because tourism, it can be this incredible lifeline for preserving traditions, but it can also be the very thing that puts them up for sale. So today, we're going to unpack that exact double-edged sword, how tourism and the world's living, breathing cultural heritage collide.
Okay, so first things first, we need to get on the same page about the kind of culture we're talking about. This isn't about the ancient ruins you can walk through or the famous paintings you see in a museum. No, this is about the culture you can't really touch.
I mean, think about it for a second. What really gives a place its unique vibe, its identity? Is it the old buildings and the statues, or is it something deeper? You know, the stories people tell, the music they play, the festivals they celebrate. It's those traditions that you feel. That's what we're zeroing in on.
And you know, there's an official term for this, which I think is pretty cool. UNESCO calls it Intangible Cultural Heritage, or ICH for short. And the key word there is intangible. This isn't about objects in a glass case. It's about the living, breathing knowledge and practices passed down from one generation to the next.
A really great way to get your head around it is to think of ICH as the soul of a place. It's that invisible thread connecting a community's past with its present and its future. It's the unique flavor in a grandmother's recipe, the specific rhythm in a ceremonial dance, the shared wisdom in a folktale. It's the good stuff.
And ICH is just incredibly diverse. We're talking about everything from oral traditions like storytelling and songs to the rituals that bring a whole community together. It's the amazing skill you see in traditional craftsmanship, like weaving or pottery. It even includes this deep ecological knowledge, like sustainable farming techniques that have been passed down for centuries. It's huge. Okay, so let's get to the first edge of that sword we talked about. This is the positive side, the promise, the idea of tourism as a potential hero, a genuine lifeline for keeping these traditions alive.
So when it's done right, and that's the key phrase, when it's done right, sustainable tourism can be this amazing force for good. It can bring in the money needed to preserve traditions, it creates real, meaningful jobs for local artisans and guides, and it can even spark a new sense of pride that revitalizes cultural practices that might have been fading away.
So what does this look like in the real world? Well, let's take Bhutan, for example. The money that comes in from tourists who are fascinated by their unique culture, it doesn't just vanish into some corporate bank account. No, it's actively reinvested to fund schools and workshops for traditional arts, making sure those incredible skills actually survive and get passed on.
And here's another fantastic example from New Zealand. For the Maori people, their culture and the natural world are totally inseparable. You can't have one without the other. So their approach to tourism reflects this beautiful idea. They use it as a tool to protect the environment because they understand that if the land suffers, their heritage suffers right along with it. But for every one of those amazing success stories, there is a serious risk. We've seen the bright side, the promise. Now we have to look at the other, much sharper edge of the sword, the incredibly high price of popularity.
And this right here is where that central conflict just snaps into focus. That same economic support that can save a tradition can also lead to its commodification. The thing that was meant to revitalize a culture can turn it into a staged, hollow performance for tourists. And that global appreciation, well, it can so easily curdle into cultural appropriation and a total loss of what made it special in the first place. It is such a fine line to walk.
Let's really drill down on this key threat, commodification. This is what happens when a sacred ritual or a deeply meaningful tradition gets packaged up and sold like a t-shirt or a souvenir. It gets simplified, shortened, performed on a strict schedule for paying customers, and in the process, it's stripped of all the deep cultural meaning it once held.
And the consequences, they can be absolutely devastating. Just look at Venice. It's become a poster child for this problem. The city is so overwhelmed by millions of tourists that actual Venetians, the people who are the living culture of the city, are being priced out and forced to leave. And you have to ask, when the local community is gone, what happens to their living culture? It just vanishes.
And the damage just ripples outward from there. Over-tourism creates this whole cascade of problems. A community's cultural identity starts to erode. The local environment gets hammered by pollution and waste, and a lot of the time, the economic benefits don't even go to the local people, which just makes inequality even worse.
Okay, so this is all starting to feel a little bit bleak, I know. But there is a solution, and it's not about banning tourism or building walls. It's about fundamentally shifting the power dynamic and putting the communities themselves in charge of their own story.
This quote from UNESCO from all the way back in 2003 absolutely nails it. The people whose culture is being shared have to be the primary stakeholders. They need to be in the driver's seat. They have to be the ones making the big decisions about how their heritage is presented, shared, and protected.
So what does that actually look like on the ground? Well, it pretty much boils down to these 4 key things. First, real empowerment, giving communities actual control. Second, making sure the economic benefits are shared fairly. Third, it's about true collaboration, not just top-down rules. And finally, it's about building the trust you need for everyone to work towards the same shared goals.
Because ultimately, this is what it all comes down to. Having a voice changes everything. When a community has a real say and a direct stake in the financial outcome, they suddenly have the power to guide tourism. They can make sure it serves to protect their heritage instead of just letting it be exploited.
And that brings us to the path forward. How do we actually build a future where travel is more authentic, more respectful, and truly sustainable for everyone involved?
Well, the research gives us a pretty clear blueprint. It all starts with investing in local communities, giving them the training and skills they need. It requires planning where everybody gets a seat at the table. It means letting the community itself monitor the impacts of tourism and promoting their culture ethically. And, this one's on us, it means educating travelers to be more respectful and understanding.
Because at the end of the day, that's the whole point, isn't it? The goal is to keep these incredible traditions alive and well. We want intangible cultural heritage to be a dynamic, evolving part of a community's daily life, not some fossilized memory in a history book or a staged show for visitors.
And this brings us right to the final question, the one I want you to take with you. The difference is subtle, but it is so powerful. A tourist often just consumes a place. A guest, on the other hand, participates respectfully. So the next time you pack your bags and head out into the world, which one are you going to be?